Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Petticoat Junction.
Hi folks, John Cordisco here with the much anticipated FIDE World Candidates Final Tournament currently being played in Russia. 8 great players, 3 former world champions. It's going to be a great match. The winner of this match plays Magnus Carlsen for the World Championship. Don't miss any of this action. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again with another great chess video for you. Round 5 of the FIDE Candidates Final 2014, currently being played in Russia. The winner of this tournament plays Magnus Carlsen for the World Championship. This is a great, great game. Classic game. Vladimir Kramnik, former world champion as white. Levon Aronian, number 2 in the world from Armenia, is black. This is a great game. Let's get to it. It's going to be a Queen's Indian. We're going to go through the opening here so we can spend more time on the game. Queen's Indian setup. C6, bishop d3, 7, castles, b3, knight b to d7. Here we are. Now, I picked this game because of the ending. It was an incredible struggle, unbelievable position. Very similar to the Kramnik-Aronian game in the Candidates Final Tournament in London last year, where at the very end, Aronian miscues. And instead of drawing in a wild game, loses. One miscue, one mistake towards the end cost him the game. We're going to see what happens in this one. Maybe he wants revenge. B2 by Kramnik, rook d8 by Aronian. Tiny advantage for white in the computer. That's off screen. Less than a quarter pawn. It's even. Knight to e5. Bishop f4. Kramnik's going for it, and that's a good move. That knight is really pesky. Of course, you see why knight can't take knight. Because after one of these pawn takes, he's forking both of these pieces, and you lose a piece. c5. Now, if black had played instead knight takes, like I said, that's the end of that. That illustrates that. After c5, queen f3. That's one of the reasons why the f-pawn was moved, just to reinforce the knight, but it opens up the position for the queen to get in. C takes, e takes, bishop, knight to e2. He wants that knight. Now, right now, this bishop's biting on its own pawn, but that's not going to be forever. Knight to e4. That's a damn good spot for that knight. That's a very strong knight. a3, kick the bishop. Bishop goes back to f8. It's not really a decent square for it except for f8. Rook. Computer suggested rook f to c1, and then c8 comes out the same. Rook a to d1, a6. Controls this square here, so you don't have a pin on the knight. a4. Interesting line, though, would have been knight to g3. Knight reinforces the other knight. Knight to f5, queen to c8. Now that's crazy. Look at this conglomeration right here. Pretty wild stuff. After a4, rook to c8, get the open file. And here comes the queen. Queen to h5. And of course the threat is queen takes. G6. Queen H3. Knight comes up to protect the other knight plus the king. F5. He's opening up the position. He's sacrificing a pawn. Well, not really. The queen can take back. But that's what you do to break open a king position. You start pushing your pawns. G5. He doesn't want to trade. Now later you're going to see that was a mistake. He thought he was being clever, and I thought it was a good move when I saw it too. You can see all of these rounds on YouTube if you go to the FIDE channel. They have their own channel on YouTube. And watch the entire round with commentators. Knight to G3. B5. He's looking for counterplay desperately on the queen side. If you're being attacked on one side, try to attack on the other, just to distract your opponent. If he had played H6 instead, after knight takes, D takes, bishop C4, that's troubling. Rook D7 is the only saving move. This is where the game starts getting crazy. A takes. Aronian lets the pawn go. He wants the pin on white's D4 pawn. Kramnik just moves the king. Aronian takes back. Now bishop takes. Pawn takes. Now if knight had taken instead, knight takes, pawn takes, knight takes here, and black's king is in a world of hurt right now. A world of hurt. After D takes, D5. Now here we are. And I'll tell you the truth, as crazy as this position is, white only has a third of a pawn advantage. Black's up what I call the minor exchange. A bishop for a knight. He does have the bishop pair, but his king's under tremendous pressure. E3. Great move. Great move. For those who are wondering, instead if bishop had taken, big mistake. Because after knight to G4, knight takes, queen takes, and you are SOL, as we say here in the United States, and you can figure out what that means. That's terrible for black. Ton of trouble. I mean, the only savior is F6, and then rook takes the bishop. I mean, you're just doomed. After E3, knight goes to G4, letting the pawn come and fork in the future. That knight is stuck here, defending that square. Knight takes, queen takes. If knight had taken D5 instead, rook takes, E2, rook E1, bishop takes, knight to H5, and white has a huge, overwhelming advantage. Over 5 points according to the computer. Those two knights, the queen and the pawn, are just brutal. And, of course, this bishop that was buried now is king of the board. After knight takes, queen takes, H6, reinforcing that G-pawn. He's got to do something. Knight to E4. He moves the knight. The one that's guarding the E2 square. Rook to C2. Beautiful move. Beautiful move. Now, we're on move 30 now, and I want to say that this is the point where Kramnik was getting in severe time trouble. Kramnik is white. Severe time trouble. And he's got to find all these moves in a very complicated position. He checks with the knight. Now, think what you would do as Aronian now. You're in a lot of trouble. You move the king to H8, the game's over. Once bishop goes to D4, you're doomed. He sacks his queen. Queen takes F6. Bishop has to take E2. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, these guys are on the razor's edge on both sides of the board. Great stuff. Very much like their last candidate's final game and played in London, where Aronian blundered and Kramnik won a tough ending. What do you do here as white? What do you do? What do you do? Bishop takes the pawn. And now this is where Aronian miscues. It's got a double question mark. Bishop takes d5, and the score jumps to over 3. The computer suggests pawn takes the f-rook. Then after rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes, king to h7. That's salvageable. After bishop takes d5, bishop takes, discovered check, king to h7. It's almost a 3-point advantage now for Kramnik. This game is over. He has it. We're on move coming up 35. He's got tremendous time pressure. He's got like a minute and a half for 5 moves. And he throws away the game. Bishop takes f8. Throws away the game. The only move, and this is a tough move to find. Tough move to find. Rook to g1 saves the game because it guards this pawn right here. That's the continuation. Or, if pawn takes queen, queen takes back, guarding the g2 pawn, and white wins. He takes the bishop. To be honest with you, I don't know if I would have saw that rook to g1 or any one of these guys. And Kramnik's no slouch, former world champion. He's a top elite player in the world. But he missed. Played bishop takes f8. Now pawn takes the rook on f1. Queen, rook takes, rook to g2. Here it comes. Queen has to take, bishop takes, king to g2, rook takes, king to f3, king to g7. Now ended up in a very complicated rook ending that drew. What a game, what a game, what a game. This is why these guys are playing to challenge the world champion. Fantastic game, fantastic players. Yes, Kramnik blundered, but bishop takes f8. He had less than a minute left for 3 moves. I think it was still a great game. I think it was a great game for both of these players. The defensive resources these guys come up with is amazing. This is definitely the game of the day. Anyway, folks, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. I want to thank all my new subscribers in the last few months. Thank you very much. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.